Always brings out some highly anticipated movies. That's a big time to go to the movies, and that includes this week. Michael Cook is here to review The West Side Story and The Power of the Dog.
Yes, let's...
The Power of the Dog.
The Power of the Dog.
All right.
But let's talk about West Side Story first. This, of course, is the remake by Steven Spielberg of the iconic 1961 film. If you know the story, you probably know exactly the plot line, but I'll go ahead and tell you anyway. It's set in the late 1950s in New York City. There are two warring gangs. You have the Jets versus the Sharks. And they fight it out in the streets of New York. The Sharks have a Puerto Rican background, and the Jets seem to have kind of an Irish immigrant background. Of course, in the center of the story is young love. Rachel Zegler plays Maria, who at a dance falls instantly in love with Ansel Elgort with the Jets, of course, in a completely different gang. Their love is just sort of instantaneous, and they, of course, sing about it all across the streets of New York City. The cast is just absolutely phenomenal. David Alvarez plays Bernardo. You have Mike Raft, who plays Riff. I mean, there's so many. Rita Molinaro returns in her role, but in a different role, but returns to this story. So this, remaking an American classic is always very dangerous, but only I think Steven Spielberg could pull it off. And here he does a just absolutely fantastic job. The choreography is amazing. The songs are just, they're all iconic. Even if you've never even seen the original West Side Story, you know these songs because they've been around in pop culture for 60 years. One criticism I do have of the film, though, Ansel Elgort, I thought was just a little bit too flat and just not rightly cast in this movie, especially when you compare him to the rest of the cast, who are just amazing. So his performances are not, I don't think, quite up to par with the rest of the actors in this film. But that's a slight criticism because all in all, this is just a wonderful, wonderful film. If you love musicals, I think you're going to love this movie. I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Big rating. Think it could be an award winner?
Oh, it's going to win a ton of nominations for you name it. It'll probably
No new music. Is the same music?
I don't think there's any new songs, but again, these are all classic songs you've heard thousands of times before in your life.
Well, cool beans. All right, let's get down to The Power of the Dog.
This is on Netflix. Recently premiered. It stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Jesse Plemons, and Kirsten Dunst. It's set in 1925 Montana. The storyline is Cumberbatch and Plemons play two brothers who own a massive cattle farm. Plemons starts to fall in love and eventually marries Kirsten Dunst's character, much to the chagrin of Cumberbatch, Cumberbatch character in this movie, he's just downright mean person. Just angry and mean, and just treats everybody around him horribly. His fellow ranch hands seem to adore him because I guess he's the top frat boy kind of bro.
Yeah.
But he's just mean to everybody. And as the film goes along, you realize he's actually a highly educated man, incredibly smart, but just at his core, he's just mean. And this is a kind of movie, I call it a novel type of film, meaning it takes a while for it to get going. So you have to be, I think, patient with it and understand it's more of a character study of these people in this desolate, not desolate, but it's more seeming a remote era.
Isolated?
Isolated, that's the better word. Isolated part of Montana. It's a Western, but there's no really gunfighting. There's no, things along those nature. But I just really enjoyed the story. There's a lot of themes in this film that stuck with me days after watching it. Themes of friendship, masculinity, living your true life that really appealed to me on many different levels. The performances, Benedict Cumberbatch was just fantastic as that just angry brother who you still kind of find yourself being appealed by, but man, he's just rotten to people and animals throughout this film. All in all, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It's going to get a bunch of nominations, I think, as well as West Side Story does. So this is why I give this movie a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 on this
9 out of 10. So two completely different movies to see this weekend, but two very, very well done films.
So it's a Western, but no John Wayne.
Exactly, no John Wayne.
Is it just me, or does Cumberbatch kind of the way he was kind of acting and moving, he kind of looked like Matthew McConaughey.
I can see that a little bit. He does have a in this movie, but you know he's an Englishman. So, but when you meet him in real life, that's not. But that's how good of an actor is. He really digs into this role.
He takes the role on. He's an actor.
Exactly. Gets paid to do it.
Probably paid pretty well too.
Quite well.
All right, let's go check in with the Rains right now. And you say I play.
Got to give a shout out to